Hi, welcome to Cup of Shokolatte. I'm Shoko. In each episode of this podcast, a friend and I will be chatting and discussing listener-submitted stories and gossip. So grab a cup and let's chat. Hello.
Hello, there she is.
We're
Woo!
here.
We
Welcome.
Thank you, love. Oh my goodness, halfway across the world.
I
Back
know
again.
this is so crazy. Oh my
It
gosh.
is. It is.
Okay, so I have been keeping this special pre-launch episode of Cup of Shokolatte a complete total secret.
Ooh, spicy.
This is going to be published on December 25th, 7
Ooh,
a.m. Eastern time. And it's going to be a Christmas surprise for everyone. And just keeping this secret has been like eating me up alive.
girl, what an actual gift. You know what I mean? Like, I can't wait for you to release it out into the world, you know?
Yeah. But I knew that like this is going to be such a special episode, and there's just one person in the world that I wanted to record this with.
Girl, I love you so much. I miss you so much, and I love you forever.
Oh, I love you. So let me introduce you to the people. So, Danielle, you are my a very, very, very good best friend. We go way, way back to middle school, to
Way back.
2002 or something, I think.
Yeah, yeah, we graduated '09.
Uh-huh.
So '06 was high school, and so before that, 3 years. Yeah, math. Math is
Math.
mathing
Yes.
somewhere around there.
Yeah, so we had our start. We met in middle school, and then we solidified the most amazing group of five girls in high school, AP Psych class.
Represent.
Represent Cochlea.
Cochlea. Oh
Cochlea.
my
Wait,
God, I
was it
remember
cuckoo for Cochlea?
for Cochlea. Oh my gosh. Oh wow.
And
Oh
now, yeah, now we are spread all over the US. I am on the other side of the globe, but we still have that awesome bond. And
yeah.
all you girls are just like super, super special people in my life.
Same here, love. I talk about you all the time. Literally. You
Oh,
come up in conversation at least once a week, if not more.
oh my gosh, I love it. I miss you so much.
I miss you too. Oh, I mean, life is just wild. That's all I can say. That's like,
Yeah.
that's been my phrase this year is like, life is wild. Life is
Yes.
wild. Life is wild.
Now, talking about life being wild, you and I could
Mhm.
probably run a whole podcast season with just the stories that we have together.
Oh, yeah,
Um,
absolutely. No,
so I hope, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I hope you will be like a regular guest on this podcast.
I mean, if the people like me, I'll give the people what they want.
Yes, yes. But we'll get into like some of our stories again later. But I want to hear. So now, you have a background in psychology and therapy, but right now you have a special project you're working on, your dream work.
Yes,
Can you
yes.
tell me about that?
I can tell you about that. So, yes, I'm a therapist by day, expressive arts therapist by day, and by Tuesday evenings, I run a dream circle. I call it the Dream Keepers Circle. And really, how I got started with dream work. I'm someone who has kept a dream journal for probably close to 10 years at this point, off and on. And you know me. I mean, I've
Mhm.
always been into the mystical, the magical, the ethereal, like things that are not of this earth.
Yes.
And I'm also someone who dreams every night. So about let's see, 2019, in the winter of 2019. No, wait, sorry, I don't know. Time is hard. Yeah,
Yes.
2019. I'm like, things are hard to think about.
Uh-huh.
Um, so in that winter, like a lot of stuff in my life started to shift. Like
Mhm.
I broke up. We were, going our separate ways. I moved to the city, and
Mhm.
I started. I mean, I was still dreaming constantly, but what I
Mm.
realized is looking back through my dream journals, I had a couple premonitions, and I was like, wait.
Oh.
I dreamed this. The biggest one being like I had a dream where I met my cousin in my live in a living room in my other cousin's living room at
Mm.
Christmas. And he was just looking the best he had ever looked, and I was like talking with him and we were having a good conversation. And then, fast forward a couple months after Christmas had happened, right?
Mm.
And obviously I had this dream before Christmas of 2019, but then early 2020, I was looking at my dream journal and I was like, oh my God, like I actually lived this. I dreamed about this, because
Oh, wow.
long story short, like we had a cousins night and this particular cousin wasn't gonna be there until one of my other
Mm.
cousins was like, oh, someone call Stevie, see if he's around. Like it was a very impromptu thing. So I didn't even
Oh,
like he
wow.
wasn't even expected to be there, you know what I mean? So
Mm.
it was just anyway, I had like a couple experiences like that and I said, there's really something deeper here and
Mhm.
I need to get a mentor, like I need to go. There's only so far I think you can go with your own dream interpretation because,
Absolutely.
it's so personal. And so you really need to start working with someone who's done the work for a long time to kind of figure out what your own dream dictionary is and like what
Mm.
kind of archetypes to look at. And I mean, there's just so many things. So, in a nutshell, that's what got me into starting Dreamkeeper Circle. I wanted to share the knowledge that I was getting with my mentor, Lynn, and I wanted to
Mhm.
bring that to people. I wanted to just say, hey, if you've ever been curious about your dreams more than just kind of, saying, oh, I watched that movie last night and that's why I dreamed about this, if you wanted to
Right.
go deeper, this may be a place for you, to start learning the art of dreaming.
That's
So,
amazing. So
yeah.
these are like Zoom calls?
So it's
How does the
yeah.
Dreamkeeper circle work?
So it's a Zoom group, right? So because
Mhm.
I'm now in California, a
Mm.
lot of my friends are on the East Coast, but some
Mhm.
some friends from here too have joined. So it's a Zoom group. And I hold the space every Tuesday for an hour,
Mhm.
and I regularly get, at least a few people, and my
Mm.
intention this year, when I started it actually January of 2023, my intention was to just keep it very kind of small to close
Mm.
friends, maybe friends of friends, and really have it grow as organically as possible, right? Like literally by word of
Yes.
mouth.
Yeah.
Anyone who's like, oh, this sounds interesting, I'll send you my email. Like, please put me on the call list that or the email list that I send out every week to see who's in and who's joining. So that's how it has grown.
Mm.
Um, and I've just learned a lot. I've learned so much. I don't even know where to begin with it, but I'm learning so much.
That's amazing. Can you so tell me Dreamkeeper Circle can be accessed on Instagram. Can you tell me the exact handle?
Yeah, so it's dream.keepers.circle.
Okay.
And please don't judge because I'm totally not I'm not great at the social media stuff and being consistent with it. So the page is totally gonna look sketchy because there's only like four things on the grid and like I'll post stories every now and again. But my
Yeah.
one of my big goals for 2024 is to really build that up so I can
Yeah,
get more of a presence.
absolutely.
I do want more of a presence for sure. And I'm okay with the timeline of that, like slow and steady
Mm.
is
Yeah,
good.
yeah, because
Yeah.
you're doing this while you have your therapy work doing. You're doing
Oh
that
yeah.
too, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I got
So
that day job. I
yeah,
got
there you
that
go.
day
You got
job.
your day job. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's amazing though.
Thanks. Yeah, I mean it's been
Yeah.
incredible. It's been really incredible. I think dreams, like honestly, I could talk about literally. I think we could probably do a whole podcast just on dreams, which is
Yeah,
also like,
there's
you know,
something for you too. There's a goal for you in the future.
hey,
Dream
I
Keeper
got that.
Circle Pod.
I got that roadmap going as I stare at my
Yes,
collage above
yes,
my head right now. Yeah, I think dreams are like a built-in life guide. Like
yeah,
we have all of the guidance we need inside of us, and with us all the time.
yeah,
And I think if we choose to kind of interact with dreams, they will answer back. That's been true for me.
absolutely.
So yeah. So
Yeah,
anyway,
I
I'm excited. Mm.
yeah, like I myself have experienced quite a few premonitions.
Oh yeah,
I think like
we've talked
yeah,
about
we've talked
them.
about this. Like
Yeah.
I've dreamt the kids that I birthed.
Yeah.
I've
Yep.
had other premonitions as well. So I am totally into your dream keeper circle. I only wish the time zones were more
I
forgiving because
know.
I really would love to join. Eventually, when when my kids are a little bit more independent and I can like stay up in the middle of the night and like join in, I will.
Totally. I
We
mean,
will
that
make
would
it
be
work.
amazing. That would be
Yeah.
amazing. And also, like, I want to also offer more times eventually, but it all kind of,
Yeah.
you know, it's a little bit trial and error in terms of like what to, how to make things work. You know what I mean?
Of
And what
course.
I want out of the circle. And like, ultimately, I just want to spread knowledge and like, do I
Yeah.
want it to be lucrative too? Absolutely. Like,
Sure.
I'm not going to deny that. But I think with anything and how to make anything kind of grow is be intentional with what you do, love
Hmm.
what you do, and I think that like good things always follow that. So I'm just kind of keeping that as my North Star. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um,
That's amazing. I
yeah,
love that.
yeah.
That's actually a great transition. Like I wanted to talk about Cup of Shokolatte in
Oh my
this new
gosh.
podcast.
Can I just side note say that I showed that to someone? I showed like the picture that you
Yeah.
created, and they loved it. They were like freaking out. They were like, "This is so awesome! Look at her, she's
Oh
jumping out
my
of coffee." It was great. I
god.
just want to say it was right on,
Thank
spot
you
on.
so much.
You've always
Yeah.
been so creative like that, though.
Oh, thank
You know.
you. Yeah, like I've wanted to do a podcast for a long time. It's just kind of like an idea I had in the back of my head.
Hmm.
Because I've always been so like I've had so much admiration for like radio hosts and people who have the gift of gab.
Oh,
Like
totally.
you are one of these people who like is really good at making people feel comfortable and like drawing out conversation from them. And I guess I
Hmm.
mean you know me like way back
Yeah.
how I used to be so shy. So
Oh,
like
yeah, I do remember. I
yeah.
do. Like
Oh
we,
yeah.
we've evolved, yo. That's all I can
We
say. Well,
have
and we'll keep
absolutely.
evolving, but we have evolved.
Yeah, so
Oh,
like I didn't know if like the gift of gab is like a skill you're born with or something that you can acquire. But I was just like, you know what? This is just like I am, in my early 30s now. Like
mhm.
this is the time in my life where, it's just a waste of my life if I'm just like, oh, that would be nice, but I don't have the
Yeah,
guts to do it.
I hear
So I
you.
just, yeah. So I just, I'm here. I want to shoot the shit and banter with my friends.
That's it. And you know what? That's what we're doing. And
Yeah.
that's the thing. I think right now is a time, especially that people they're craving authenticity, right? Like we're in this weird
Mhm.
time where we're more seen on social media than like we ever have been,
Oh,
right? And
yeah.
so like people people are just, I don't know, they just like want to see it. They want to be in with it. Like they want to be here in the room
Exactly.
with certain people, like their favorite podcasters. And like I'll be totally honest, I don't listen to podcasts. So this is like just so cool for me to like be a part of one.
Yeah.
And I'm like slowly getting into podcasts, like I've gotten so many
Yeah.
recommendations over the years, but I'm really proud of you for
Oh,
jumping in with 2 feet. Like that's what I
thank
did with Dream
you.
Keepers. I didn't know. I
Yeah.
was so nervous. I was like, all the doubts kind of come in. You're like, do I know enough?
Absolutely.
do I know enough to lead a circle with people? Like, what makes me an expert? And da da da. And then like all these kind
Right.
of, the doubts creep in. And at some
Ugh.
point, I had to like breathe, and I had to
Mhm.
like therapize myself and be like, okay, what would I say to a client that was struggling with like the ruminating thoughts of I
Mhm.
can't, what if, you know? Um, and breathing's huge. Like you got to
Yeah.
just take a deep breath,
Breathe.
and then like you got to jump in. Like, you really do. And what's the worst that could happen? Literally,
Right.
it's
Right.
really,
Exactly.
the worst that could happen is what? No one shows up, or maybe you don't know, you have someone who takes a phone call in the middle of a podcast. Like, I don't really
Right.
know. You know, not naming any
Exactly.
names, but no, just kidding. Uh,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, part of it, I was just like, I've always just like had this like circling in the back of my head. And I'm just gonna put it out there in the universe. And then people started biting. They were like, "This is a great idea,"
There you
and so
go.
that was my push. And I was like, "Okay, well now I've said it. I've put
Hmm.
it in the universe. Now I have to
Hmm.
commit, and I have to do this."
But you hold yourself accountable. That's what it's all
Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
That's how we get from A to B, I think.
Exactly. Exactly. So let me go back and explain this how the regular episodes, this is like, a pilot episode, I guess. It's kind of different from the usual setup.
Hmm. Okay.
But it's gonna follow a similar flow. um we've just bantered like this, and then I will transition into the story of the day.
Ooh, okay.
um
I
so
like
I
it.
do have a story for you.
Oh.
um
Mhm.
Except, so usually, this story is going to be something that is sent in by someone else.
Okay.
But because this is a very special episode, this is my story.
All right. Lay it on
And
me.
yes, and I don't know if I've probably told you this story before, but it is so embarrassing, and probably the most embarrassing thing I've ever done.
All right. Well, let's see. I don't know. I got a few that I remember, so we'll see if it holds a
Yeah.
candle.
So do you have your drink ready?
Oh, do.
What's in your cup?
I have a mix of a pomegranate seltz that I just picked up at Trader Joe's, and I put a
Ooh.
little Riesling in with it for a little white wine spritz.
Ooh, that sounds decadent.
Yeah,
Um,
very tasty.
it is right now, time check. It is 11:15 over here in Japan.
Beautiful.
So I'm not going to have any alcohol.
Okay, totally
In
fine.
my cup I have a little apple rooibos tea.
Ooh, very
Ooh.
nice. Yeah.
Yes. So are you ready for the inaugural sip?
Dun dun dun. I'm
Dun, dun,
ready.
dun. Here we go.
Mm,
Mm,
very good. Very
yummy.
tasty. Very nice.
Okay. So, this story, my story, is going to take us back to middle school.
Oh boy.
Um, I think this is like second or third year of middle school. And do you remember? And for anonymity purposes, I've changed her name to
Mm-hmm.
Cosette.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh
You'll
yeah.
probably recognize her from the description.
Mm-hmm.
But she was new to our school. She was this cute little French girl, and basically all the boys in our grade crushed on her.
Oh yeah. I
Do you
remember
remember?
that. Loved her,
Yeah,
like
she was so
dropped to their
sweet.
knees like
Oh.
this puppy dog, like tail out, tongue wagging, like the whole
Yes.
nine. Yep.
And she was like really sweet too. And
So
initially she
sweet.
hung out with us, but
Yeah.
eventually she found a different friend group and left us.
Yes. Sad day,
Um,
but it's okay.
yeah.
We all move in.
Yeah, it happens. It's okay. Well, one time we were all hanging out at your dad's place.
Mm.
And let me give the people a bit of a background about your dad's beloved sketchy cabin in the suburbs.
That's a great
So
description. It is
yes,
totally.
So, Dee, you and I are from a very suburban town in New England, like
Yeah,
very, very
super,
suburban.
super white.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Super white.
That explains it. Yeah,
Yeah.
super white. Like white picket fence, big backyards. Victorian houses. Most of them are. Is it called a duplex? It's like a two
Oh
family
yeah.
houses, right?
Yep. Single
Yeah,
families and duplexes and
yeah.
all that. Hmm.
So, super, super suburban town. And then all of a sudden is your dad's house, which looks like it is in the middle of the woods.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
like is a massive sprawling cabin.
Yeah. I describe it to people when my husband came home, like to see the house for the first time.
Mhm.
He came to Boston for the first time.
Mm.
I was like, so this house is Halloween 24/7. You know what I mean? Like it really is.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that house, like as sketchy as it is like my sweetest memory.
Mm.
I lived with you there for a year, close to a year. I don't know if it was a full year. But then
Mm.
like shortly
Yeah.
after I
Hmm.
moved to Japan. But those are, some of my
Mm.
sweetest memories.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and I'm sure we will share many more stories about that house.
Oh my goodness.
Um,
Yes. Yes.
yes. So, anyways, we are watching a movie at your dad's house. And honestly, I at this point I can't recall what the movie was, but everything was very dark. There were like six of us together, huddled on your dad's massive couches,
Hmm.
and one of our friends was a mutual friend who had moved to our town like a previous year from California. Do you remember
Mm.
him?
Yes, I
No names.
do. Hmm.
And you probably remember I had the world's biggest crush on him.
Oh yeah.
But I was too shy to ever admit. But that's not what this story's about. I mean, like,
No.
anyways, he and Cosette, we'll call him Dan. Dan and
Okay.
Cosette ended up dating shortly, and I was just like so jealous and heartbroken. But the
Yeah.
whole Dan saga is a story for another episode. Um,
As you're talking, I'll tell
yep.
you what, like I like totally forgot my Facebook password, so I can't even look at these pictures, but like all of these pictures are
Yes,
floating in an
they are.
album in
Yeah.
Facebook right now because you know how we used to make albums and edit
Yes.
them and like
And
capture
you
the
you
pictures?
were the
Yeah.
queen. You were the queen of those
Oh
albums.
my God, I made so many albums. Yeah. Oh, with our digital cameras, like
Yes. What
putting
was
the
it like the
putting the SD
Pentex or
card,
something?
putting the
Yes.
SD card in the laptop.
We are so dating ourselves right now.
You know what? I'm proud of it because you know what?
I'm
Kids
proud.
today don't know.
Yes.
That's,
Oh man. Okay.
mm,
Yes. So we will have to visit those pictures. I have my Facebook password, so I will send those pictures to you later.
oh, great. That's awesome. Thank you.
Excellent. So anyways, so I'm sitting pretzel style on your dad's massive couch next to Cosette.
Hmm.
And I am like engrossed in this movie. Like I can't take my eyes off it. Um, and suddenly my knee starts to itch.
Mm.
Like, when your just body starts to like do weird things, like your
Yeah.
nerves fire weird and you just get like a weird itch.
Yeah.
So I am like intensely watching this movie. We are all like, we all are. I'm
Hmm.
mindlessly scratching my knee, trying to like relieve this itch. But some reason it is like a really intense itch, and I'm scratching.
It's just, you know what? It's that itch you can't scratch.
You can't scratch.
Yeah.
I'm getting no relief. Um, and I'm just like, this is really weird. So I look down, and to my absolute horror, it is not my knee I've been scratching.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Oh my
I'm
God.
about to cry. I'm like laughing.
Oh my
I
God.
have been scratching Cosette's knee this
Oh.
entire time.
I completely forgot this story. I just have to tell you.
I'm so glad.
Oh my God. That is
I mean,
incredible.
maybe I didn't tell you because I was just so embarrassed at my weirdness.
You kept it locked away in your mind forever.
Yeah. And I
Only to be
swear.
reopened now.
So Cosette like looks absolutely mortified. She is like frozen. She's not even like watching the movie anymore. She's like dying.
Like she doesn't say anything either.
No,
So like
no. Like, yeah.
like it's that awkward age where it's like, okay, like what's
Is this
happening?
a
What do
come
we
on?
do?
Like,
I can't do it. Yeah,
so
yeah.
obviously I immediately stopped. I like whipped my hand back and I think I sat on my hands for the rest of the movie. And I honestly didn't talk or make eye contact with Cosette for the rest of the night.
Yeah,
Um,
that tracks. That tracks.
but like shortly after this, I think she found a different friend group. And I think it was because she was like so creeped out by me.
I mean, yeah, it was the scratch that broke us all up. You know what I mean? So, I
Yeah.
mean, wow. You know.
So yeah, that's my super embarrassing story.
Oh my God. I completely, yeah, I don't even know if you ever told me that. I
I
could
may not
imagine
have.
you basically not telling anyone, even like your closest friends that.
Right,
Uh,
and now I've told the world.
I've told the world, you know, and because that's somewhere out there being like, wait a minute, is that me?
Yes, she probably is like she'll probably recognize immediately. She probably still to this day has nightmares about me scratching her knee at your dad's house.
Oh my God. I mean, yeah, I don't even know. I don't even know what to say, but that that sounds about right. You know what I mean? Um, that sounds about right.
Oh, it was a time. It was a time.
Do you remember do you remember Halloween night at my dad's house? Not when we lived together, but like when we were all in middle school. Do you
Oh,
remember
yes,
that
I
night?
think I do. I think I do remember this night. You tell the
Do
story. Your turn.
do you remember the oregano? Okay. So set the scene.
The
We're at
oregano.
you know
Yes.
so set the scene. We're at the, you know, Cliff Street as we'll call it. We're at Cliff
Mhm.
Street. And same group of friends probably. I don't
Mhm.
exactly
Yes.
remember who's there, but like same group of friends, the two you just
Yeah.
mentioned, then some, right?
Mhm.
And I think after we played spin the bottle at our at the like field at our middle school, because like that's what we did back then. Do you
Yes.
remember that night? Yeah,
I remember that night.
yeah. And there are may also be pictures floating around there. I don't know. You know,
Evidence.
Evan is an address. Okay. We all know who that
Mhm.
is, but yeah,
Mhm.
Evan's an address, you know, like things are popping. So
Mhm.
then we go back to my house and we're
Mhm.
all watching this movie. It was probably Freddy Krueger or something.
Yeah.
And my dad comes out, right? And I'm Greek, so I feel like that's important to name for this
Yes. Important
particular
details.
story. And so when my grandparents would go to Greece, they'd always bring back fresh oregano. Well, dried,
Mm.
but
Well, yeah, yeah.
like the good stuff.
Customs.
Yep,
The good
right.
stuff.
Like if you've ever seen like fresh dried oregano, yeah, it doesn't look like a spice. Let me put it that way. So
It's very suspect.
it's very suspect, very suspect. So dad walks in with a huge like mason jar, right? And he
Mhm.
just opens the top. And you remember Evan's dad was a cop, right? So
Yes.
he goes up to Evan, he puts it to his nose and he goes, "Hey, you want some?" And I'm like snapping him. I'm like, "Dad, is dad the cop? What are you doing, Paul?" And he starts just busting out and he's like, it's just oregano. So, that's when my dad tried to sell some oregano to my friend at a very young age. So I think
Oh
that explains a lot. Honestly, I look
yes.
back at that moment, like when I'm in therapy and it's like, where did it all begin? Yeah, I look back
That
at that
night.
moment, that night, has it planted roots in my mind forever. But yeah, that was great. Everyone just laughed, and Evan was mortified.
Oh
He didn't know how to take a joke then, so he was just
yeah,
very
yeah.
serious. He was very
Yes.
serious
He was
about it.
like I remember we called him, Evan the cop's son.
Yep.
With
Yep.
with all our love, like
Right.
I
We
still,
didn't
we
know,
love
you
him
know?
so much now, but
Yeah.
yeah.
He was just so
Yes.
serious, like
Yeah.
all the time. That when he wore that dress on Halloween, I was like, oh my God, this is a side that I have not seen and I'm here for it.
Yeah. Yeah,
Talk about
yeah.
ta-
Absolutely.
talk about crushes. That was mine.
Ah,
Sixth
I
grade.
remember that. Yeah, yeah.
Sixth grade.
I do remember that. Oh
Yeah.
my God, memories.
Oh my God. We were in the same homeroom together.
Yes.
And I don't know if I ever told anyone this. This might be my knee scratcher, but
Ooh.
you know, I so like what I would do in middle school because I'm like a
Mhm.
hopeless romantic
Mhm.
inside and like outside I like to play like I'm not, but I totally am. I would write these love letters to my crushes.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Where?
Um
Where did you write them?
so I wrote them like either at home or like,
Okay.
I don't know where. I mean, who knows? Maybe
Like
I was
not
under a
at school
stairway.
in your
You know,
in your
I,
math binder.
honestly, who knows, dude? I probably would have done some shit like that. So, I remember because we were in homeroom. So I'm like,
Mhm.
I'm having a crush on Evan, right?
Mhm.
Crush is growing. I'm like, oh, I have to tell him how I feel. So I write this letter. I slip it in his locker. And it had the classic, I don't remember what the letter said, but I remember it was the classic, do you want to go out? Yes or no, circle one, right?
Oh, yes.
And so I put it in his locker, and then like the week just goes on, right? We
Mm.
literally are sitting next to each other in homeroom and I'm just like slipping them the eyes. I'm like, you know, I'm
Oh,
like, I'm like, did
yes.
you get this letter? Like I poured my freaking heart out to you, you know? And he's like,
Oh, hello. Hello.
"Huh?
Oh,
Hello? Hi?
hello.
Hi.
Okay.
Okay, sorry, we're back. We're back. I don't
Okay,
know.
good.
I don't know what just happened. I'll make sure that doesn't happen again. I think my phone was just like, bye. I'm sleepy.
No problem.
Um,
Yeah, yeah. You gotta make
so
sure your screen doesn't go black.
oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay, good to know. Um, so basically what happens,
Mhm.
so right, I'm like, okay, I'm giving him the eyes. What's up with this
Mhm.
letter? You haven't said anything. And then he goes, yeah, I got your letter. Uh, I I go, okay. I was like, do you like me? And he was like, no. And I was like,
Oh
okay, like stabbed to the heart. Um,
no!
yeah, and then the second part, which really was the stab, was, well, do you think like you'll ever like me like that? And he was like, no, I don't think I ever will. I was
Oh,
like, oh man. I
no!
mean, talk about rejection. I was like, oh,
No!
let me just go. Let me just like go to the bathroom forever, like, oh my God. It was just,
No!
yeah,
Oh my
it was a
gosh.
time. I mean, what a time to be alive. You know what I mean? Like, we could
Totally.
we couldn't hide behind phones. You had to
No,
be in
that's
homeroom
right.
and literally look your crush in the face and be like, yeah, so what's the deal? you know?
Ah,
Or you just don't talk about it forever. But my style
exactly.
was like, I'm a romantic, and so will you recognize me? And he was like,
Yes.
I
No.
want nothing to do with it. I was like, okay. Um,
Oh, I'm glad that we've all like grown past that.
oh yeah. I mean, it builds
Cause
character, it
like,
really does.
yeah, cause even like, cause Evan and us, like, he was a very big part of our friends group. Like even after that time, for a long time, like we always hung out together.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
For
so
sure. Somehow we got, I mean, I probably gave the cold shoulder for a minute there, but then it was
oh
kind of like, okay, I get it. At least he told me.
yes, yes,
I look
yes,
back on it now and I'm like, yeah, it totally hurt, but at least he like actually told me. And I was like, all right, well,
yeah.
all in all, it wasn't that bad compared to, I mean, I work with kids now that are like a little older than what we
Hmm.
were, when we met,
Yeah.
but, oh, it's a different world now. It,
Oh man,
it,
I
it,
bet.
it's a different world. So anyway, I could rattle on, but I won't.
Yeah.
You know?
I know, I'm just like now talking with you, I have like all these stories like just coming back to me.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh. Like I mean, your dad's house is like is really where it all began. Do you remember like so I don't know if it was your first time drinking, probably not. I was a pretty, goody two shoes. So the first time I got drunk
Hmm.
was we had a sleepover. It was just you and me at your dad's house.
Oh, okay. Okay, I don't
And
remember
you
that.
busted out like, one of those big giant like bottles of raspberry Rubinoff.
Yep. Oh my God, the Smirnoff. Holy.
Oh, it was Smirnoff. Yeah, not
Yep.
Rubinoff.
Yeah. I mean, you know what?
A
Same,
little
same
classier.
difference. Same difference.
Yeah, same difference.
Yeah.
Um, and so like it was just like you and I, like we were like throwing back the Smirnoff. And like amazingly, we got drunk, but we didn't like throw up, which
Yeah.
was like good on us.
I know. I
Um,
don't know how that happened,
yeah.
truthfully. I'm not sure, you know. I'm not sure we
Yeah.
had the wherewithal to know what the heck we were doing. But
Yeah. And like later you told me so and then we are passed out like you're like on your bed, like it's a sleepover anyways. So it's like that's where like,
mhm.
where we were headed. But later you told me that your dad came home and the entire house smelled like Smirnoff.
Yeah. 'Cause that stuff, that stuff, like you can't hide that. You know what I
Potent.
mean? And we
Potent.
were like, I don't know, like when I think back to that time, I'm laughing so hard because I think we thought we were so slick too,
Yes.
like we were like trying to
Well,
be
yeah,
so
it's just
careful.
fruity. It doesn't smell like alcohol.
No, it's fine, and it's like, oh, like we'll just like casually like pour it. If we spill a little here, fine. If we spill a little there, fine. It's like they're not gonna know. And like we just thought we
Oh
were the
my
bee's
god.
knees. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
like in our own room, like outside of
Yes.
that room, I don't know, but
Uh,
yeah, I
oh
remember
my
that
god.
because I was like pretty, I was a pretty good kid, like all things
Yes. Yeah, we
considered.
were
Like I didn't
all
really,
yeah.
we didn't really get into it. We
No.
we
No,
were
no.
pretty we were on the straight and narrow,
Yes.
but I remember senior years when like all the bolts got loose. I was like, all
Mhm.
right, baby, like it's
Yep.
senior year. And you remember the group of friends that we had that came from abroad, right?
Yes.
Or
Yeah.
the one that came from abroad, from Chile,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and her two friends. And I mean, we had so much fun together. I
Yeah.
mean, that was an era of like going dancing at Riles in Cambridge. I mean,
Oh
like,
my gosh.
R.I.P. Riles. You know what I mean? That was talk about etch a sketch club. Oh my
Oh my
God.
god. Pour one out. Pour one out for Riles.
You really do? Okay, hold on. I'm take a sip for Riles.
Yeah, take a sip.
Hmm. Oh yeah.
Uh,
Anyway, I digress. This is how I tell a story. It's not linear at all,
but
ever.
this is what I want for the podcast. Like
And
this is, you
that's
know.
it. Yeah. Then I got you,
Yeah.
boo. I got you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think if my memory serves, again, these pictures are on
Mhm.
Facebook. So when I look at these, like when I last looked at these pictures, all these like memories came back. So
Yes.
I remember, I think it was like one night, it was like close to graduation, or it was like the week of
Mhm.
graduation. Just everything felt like, we were just all flying high. We were like,
Oh
yeah,
gosh.
like senior year. And they came over. I remember I was working at the Chili Cow, right? I
Mhm.
was, I was working at the Chili Cow, and I
Yep.
remember coming home, and they all were coming over because they think we were going to go to Riles. And that's when they brought the Smirnoff. Like, I don't think I got
Oh.
that Smirnoff, but I
Uh-huh.
remember they got that Smirnoff, and I hid it in the closet, and like my dad found it. Like after, like the week later, so he's like, I found the bottle of Smirnoff in your closet. Like, what is that doing there? I was like, we were having fun, Dad. And by that point, he was like, well, you've been good up to this point, so it won't be too bad, but he's like, don't do
Your
it again.
dad is so chill.
He is. He's a pretty chill guy. When he came over, like when they were getting married, because we did it pretty
Mm.
quick. And he came, he flew over. I mean, this guy, talk about telling a story. He can tell a story and then
Oh,
some,
yeah.
and everyone loves him. And like all my friends, they still ask me, they're like, how's your dad? How's your dad doing? I'm like, he's
Yeah.
fine, thanks. You know, just being like telling stories, being a weirdo, but that's fine.
Yeah.
I love
Oh,
him.
I miss him so much too. He needs to join us on the podcast.
Oh my God, the Greek on a podcast? Are you kidding
Yo.
me?
Oh man,
Oh
he's gonna take
man.
it over.
Yeah.
It won't be Cup of Chocolate anymore. It'll be like cup of what Uzo?
So exactly, I was gonna say it'd be a shot of Uzo with Johnny
Uzo.
Boy. Yeah.
Yanni's Uzo.
Yep. Yanni's Uzo time.
Oh my god, I love it.
Oh yeah.
Oh man. Well, Dee, I am taking up all your time, and I just want to thank you so much for being, my special guest on this
Of course.
special Christmas episode.
Oh, it was so nice to talk to you. I mean, I feel like we're just getting started, but I hear
I
you, you know,
know.
it's like there's a lot. There's only so much we can fit into one. So
Exactly. So I will absolutely, if you agree, I will have you back on this show many, many times.
yeah, of course I will.
Uh, Pardon.
This was a
Oh,
lot of fun, Chokes.
thank you.
This was really nice. And I think we're overdue for like a legit catch up. You know what I
Yes,
mean?
yeah, with all the girls,
Yeah.
absolutely. Let's
Yeah.
do it.
In due time, love, in due time. But it was really good chatting with you. And I'm really excited that
Thank
you're doing
you.
this. Like keep the stories coming. I'm excited.
Thank you. Yeah, yeah. That's a great segue so that we can do like a call for submissions.
Yeah.
I am already getting like, a few submissions coming in, but I need more stories because this podcast, I'm thinking of it in the long term.
Mm-hmm. Makes
So
sense.
yeah, so I want people to send in, DM me your stories.
Okay.
To the podcast, and I will anonymatize
Yeah, that word.
that word. I will
That
make
word.
it anonymous.
Yeah.
Yep, and I will share it like I did with my story today. And the guest and I, hopefully you again, many many times. We will share the story. We will chat. We will gossip, and just have a grand old time.
Sounds beautiful to me. Can't wait. Looking forward to
Yes.
it.
Thank you so much. I love you so much, Dee.
I love you too. We'll talk soon.
Okay.
Thanks for having me on.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Cup of Shokolatte. If you have a story to share with us, some juicy gossip, or you want to come on the show with me and be part of the conversation, DM me at our Instagram account at @MarkCupOfShokolate. This podcast is a labor of love by yours truly, but can't exist without your support and engagement. Let me know your thoughts and feedback. I'm Shoko. Join us again next week for another Cup of Shokolatte.